Hey Homeworthy, I'm Megan Daisy Milner. Welcome to my house in North Carolina. Can't wait to show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Megan Daisy Milner. I'm an artist based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome to my home. I have lived in my house for about 5 years. This is the third house my husband and I have lived in Charlotte. And when we were thinking about moving 5 years ago, we had kind of narrowed it down to 2 neighborhoods. We knew we wanted to be really close to uptown, but we also wanted a big lot. So Barclay Downs was kind of one of the neighborhoods this close to Charlotte that has really big yards. And my dad grew up in a ranch, his dad grew up in a ranch. I feel like our grandparents had ranches. We love the idea of having a sprawling old ranch. So when this house came on the market, I just instantly fell in love. It had been renovated in 1998, so it not a blank slate, but there was definitely places where I knew we could add our own personality. But it also had these amazing arched windows and moldings and things that you get in an old house. And so we've over the past 5 years added a lot of wallpaper. My husband said I'm not allowed to wallpaper anything else. I think I finally run out of rooms. And just paint and art and lots of color. Welcome to my entryway. This is one of the first rooms that we did when we moved in. And I think if you're struggling with decorating, starting in an entryway is great because there's usually not a ton of elements. But I focused on this because this is the first place that anybody sees when they come to the house. So I installed this amazing mural source mural that I'm obsessed with 4 years later. It's so pretty. It's got birds and flowers and just has a ton of interest. Because this room, there's no furniture, no art. I really wanted something fun that had a lot going on. So we have this amazing mural that I'm still obsessed with. I found this vintage red runner, which has been great because I don't know about y'all, but my family can be a little dirty. So this is great. It has worn well. You can't tell if there's dirt, and it's been, I just get it cleaned once a year. It's been great. And it's the perfect size. It was meant for this room. So really it was rug, wallpaper, and then we have these double doors. And so I have a giant painting that kind of is the focal point when you walk in. The nice thing about being an artist is you have a rotating art gallery around your house. So usually I hang pieces in my house, and then when they sell, I replace them. So this space is perfect for 48 by 60. So before this, I had a really large abstract piece that's now living in Tennessee. So now I have this fun floral piece. Kind of really easy elements, but this is definitely a fun space and was the first that I tackled when we moved in. And then let me show y'all our living room. This is our living room. This room I feel is so special. It has a lot of my favorite pieces in the house. And we've got art, I had this piece commissioned. I have a Colleen Leach. I've got this really fun print that I bought about 10 years ago. So the art is fun. And then I have my painting above the couch, which is part of my rotating art gallery since I'm an artist. But we've got the curtains are my fabric. I actually designed this fabric for this room because I wanted something, they're pinch pleated, but I wanted something more traditional, but with a little funk. So the fabric's a little more fun, but in a very traditional drape. These lamps we inherited from my husband's grandparents, and then the shades are my fabric too. This side table is, I love, like, I'm a sucker for buffalo check. I swear it's in like every room of my house. Anytime I see a buffalo check, I gravitate. So one of my sweet friends had this wooden table she was getting rid of. So I just had the skirt for the table made. I had this table, and then I wanted something that was a little bit different. I've got an antique piece that we inherited on the other side. So I wanted them to look very different, but also kind of go together. So I've got the blue buffalo check, and then I've got this antique piece from one of our cousins. This couch I bought like 6 years ago on Facebook. This was one of my best finds. I think it was like $100 from somebody who didn't have kids, so it was in pristine condition. And then the pillows are fun. I don't even know where I got these pillows from. These are Schumacher, and I had these made about a year ago. So, and they have birds on them, which kind of goes with the birds in my mural, and then the taxidermy duck that's hanging on my wall. I'm like a huge believer in buying furniture that's the right scale, even if the fabric is terrible, especially if you inherited it or like on Facebook. And so we had these really pretty wingback chairs in here, but they were just a little too tall. And so it kind of messed up my sight lines. You couldn't see the dining room. So I found these chairs on Facebook, and I had them recovered in this fun blue, I think it's Krypton, which is really nice fabric. And then I also got, I think the thing I love about getting your furniture recovered is you can do whatever you want. So like I always choose a fun piping because I want people to know that it was custom, because you get to, you're creating it. So I added this fun polka dot piping on the chairs that matches the piano bench cushion that I had made too. And then my coffee table is from Slate, which is a fun local house store. They have like funky things, which is cool. And then I always have different art coffee table books out. So I've got this fun flower book, and then this is, I think, Matisse. And it's kind of fun. I like always have it open, and then my kids will they kind of flip through the books, and then so it's always like on a new page. I never know what I'm going to be looking at after they're in here. I feel like bringing my house together, like the biggest things I needed were, I have an awesome upholsterer, because that's kind of like what I do with all my furniture, an amazing seamstress, and then a really good wallpaper installer. And I feel like once you have those three people, you can kind of bring any of your visions to life. My fireplace, this was really fun. So this room is more formal, and so we do watch TV in here, but it's not that often. And so an art TV didn't really make sense because those have to stay on all the time. And so I was trying to figure out a way to like have a TV in here for like football, Thanksgiving, whatever. And so I used my local carpenter Interior Woods that's done a lot of work around our house. And they actually made this frame for me for our TV. So you open it, and then you have a TV, but you don't even know it's there when it's covered. And so this was actually, they were awesome because they helped me, like we kind of sketched out different ideas, but I just had my electrician put a plug in, hang it, and then they built this box that goes around it. And then when we're not watching TV, we just shut this. And then I love buying art from artists that have a different style than me. I think it just makes your home more interesting. So Morgan Otten, who's in Georgia, created these three works on paper for me. And so I commissioned them, had the size, and then I figured out with my framer the exact dimensions to go over the TV box. And then you got real art, like I got to commission something and like support another artist. So this is probably one of the best things that I've hatched up. This piano has been a fun addition. We I had a neighbor who was moving and didn't need their piano anymore, so we inherited this. I just love the idea of having a piano in your house. So my boys have started to take lessons. I am not musically inclined, so I'm hoping that I can foster that in them. I guess you can't, like, I guess I paint, so everybody has their own artistic abilities. But so the piano's been great, and then I had this bench made just to kind of or the cushion made, obviously for comfort, but also it kind of softens up like having a giant brown piece. I feel like you got to kind of add some layers so it doesn't feel overwhelming. So we've got our piano, and then this is a really fun piece by Colleen Leach. She's an artist out of Georgia too. I bought this a couple years ago, and it's just a work on paper, and then I had it framed, and it's just like a really fun pop of color. This secretary is super special. So I have, I feel like as I talk more about my house, everything has a story, which is kind of funny. But so a family I grew up babysitting for that they're dear friends, they moved to Florida and didn't have room for this piece. I think it was her grandmother's. And so it's on loan for me until their daughter moves into a house. So I've been borrowing it for 7 years and keeping very good care of it. But I love that she entrusted me to take care of the piece until Katie has a house and space for it. So it's been great. And it's like the perfect size right here. It just makes me happy. More room for all your photos. And then it displays my china, which is great. This, I have a china buffet in my dining room too, but I apparently have a lot of china, so it didn't all fit. So this has been great, and it's just pretty and pink and floral. And then this cane chair is, I think we inherited this chair, but it had been, obviously the lines are so good and it's very well made, but it was upholstered in like a maroon and gold, just not great. So I had it recovered in this fun blue animal print fabric with blue piping. And now it's one of my favorite chairs in the house. And next, I would love to show y'all my dining room. Come on. I feel like I just gravitate towards things that I love, and usually it kind of all works together. And I also am very big on incorporating family pieces and things that represent my entire family. So basically anytime we've inherited like a piece from a grandparent, aunt or uncle, I've used it. And I just love that history. I feel like it makes your house warmer. And then my husband's a hunter, so we've incorporated several pieces of taxidermy that y'all will see. But I just think it's cool. Like, I don't know, he lives here too, my kids live here. I just want, when you walk into my house, that you know I have 3 kids, you know what my husband's hobbies are, and you also know that I'm an artist because I have my art everywhere, and I have like a collection that I've kind of curated over the past 10 years from different artists. So I guess, I don't know, I buy things that I love. I definitely have more traditional style, but I also kind of incorporate that with different fabrics and wallpaper to keep it fresh. Welcome into my dining room. This room was really fun to bring to life. Another great place to use wallpaper. So this was probably the second room that I tackled when we moved in. So when we moved in, it was pretty dark in here. And it's also, the room is a square, but my table is a rectangle. And this is a table we inherited from Glenn's great-grandparents. So it's like 120 years old. So I was not getting rid of the table. So we had our electrician move the light. And so it fits great now in here in this square room. We have Tebow wallpaper on the walls, and I did a vertical pattern mainly because we have 8-foot ceilings, so I'm always trying to elongate. And it has this really pretty shimmer that just kind of, it's like fun for dinner parties. It like sparkles a little bit. So we did the wallpaper, the acrylic rods, and then I had these drapes made. And then, yeah, I mean, we have our the buffet and the table that we inherited. And then the mirror we also inherited. Oh my gosh, I always get so scared. It's like, this thing is so heavy. It must be like 150 pounds. I don't know. I'm like terrified. We've moved it a couple times and every time it gives me such anxiety. So we inherited all of this, and then our silver. And I have my son's portrait by Anna Jarrell, who's an artist out of Winston. And she's amazing. She's actually coming later this month to do my middle son's portrait. And I just love, like, my father-in-law talks about how he would do homework at his grandparents' house when he was little on this table. So it just makes me so happy that we get to use it in our house. I obviously love color, as y'all can see my house, but I also love old things. And so this table is kind of a good mix of this. So I have my antique floral china that I'm obsessed with. I love it. It is super old. And then I've got my cabbage plates. So a little bit less formal. And then I've got my floral china. And then I have this silver that I think was I wish I could remember. It's like a great grandparent, but it has their monogram on it. This is like 100 years old, and it's really pretty. So I've got our silver on here, and then these M glasses that are fun that we also inherited, and my Target blue wine glasses. You got to keep it, mix it up. And then these candlesticks are the best. We have the best Ace Hardware near us. It's called Blackhawk, and they have the most interesting, different, unique things. And I actually got these candlestick holders from there for a table I did a couple years ago that I hosted when I hosted Christmas, and I use them all the time. So these are fabulous. And then I did the flowers. I braved Trader Joe's on Saturday morning before Mother's Day. It was crazy. But I got all the flowers and made the arrangement, and then I just added these little tulips to the bud vases on the table. My family eats in the breakfast room, but for like birthdays, when I host book club, anytime we have people over for dinner, we use the dining room. And it's just like, I don't know, I feel like when the lights are low, especially with the wallpaper, it just kind of sparkles and shimmers in here. But my kids know it's like a special birthday, or, you know, I don't know. It makes them feel special when we have their birthday dinners in here. It's like, it's fun. But when we're not having a birthday dinner and I don't have a beautiful tablescape, it's also been known as the Lego room. So my kids love to assemble their Legos here. And then even though I have an art studio at the house, my 5-year-old sometimes will make this his art studio, and it's full of construction paper. So you never know what you're gonna get, but most of the time it's a dining room. And next I'm gonna show y'all my kitchen. Come on. I was a textile major at NC State, and then I went to law school at South Carolina. And my second year of law school, I kind of knew I didn't want to practice, but I had already been there for 2 years. So I finished law school, took the bar, and then I worked at a nonprofit, Legal Aid of North Carolina, which I loved, and I did fundraising for, I don't know, 8 years, 10 years. And then I'd say maybe 3 years after working at a nonprofit, I just started painting for fun. My husband was working a lot, and we had just moved into a house, and so I had a little free time. And then friends started asking for paintings, and then I had several people encourage me to create an art Instagram account, and then I started selling in stores, and it's kind of snowballed from there. So now I'm a full-time artist. I've done that for, oh gosh, 3 or 4 years. And I have a little studio at our house that I paint out of. And then I used my textile background when we moved into this house. I like things that other people don't have, so I decided to paint my own textile and wallpapers to use throughout the house. And so I also have a textile and wallpaper line now. Welcome to my kitchen. This is definitely the most used room in the house, and it's one of my favorites. I love to cook. I don't always have the time, but when I do, it's just like my favorite thing to do. And I love cooking with my kids, even though they make a mess. But it has been just a treat to use this kitchen. When we moved in, the layout is what it is, but it was renovated in 98 and they did a great job. Like the floor plan is wonderful, but it was tan and tan, lots of tan. And the appliances finally broke, like I guess was it last year? And I had been putting it off and my husband was like, it's time, like we need to redo this kitchen. So we kept the floor plan and most of the cabinets, but we took out countertops, and then I added Carrera to the countertop and backsplash, and then we had our electrician put all the electrical up above so you get really clean sight lines. Our kitchen isn't the biggest, it's a good size, but I think keeping things like simple and cohesive just makes the space feel bigger. So we did that, and then trying to keep things cohesive, we added this panel ready dishwasher so you don't see more white. And one of the coolest things we added, I'll show y'all, is this KitchenAid lift, which was $100. We had our carpenter put it in, but it's amazing. My KitchenAid's off of my counter, but I just use it on here and then bake. And then it's not on my counter, but it's also, y'all know how heavy these are, so I don't have to lug it different places. And it's a little bit shorter, so when we're baking, my kids can use it too. So this, I highly recommend adding in a KitchenAid lift to an existing cabinet. And then probably the next best thing we did was an appliance garage. This was just like an open space before, and it kind of drove me crazy because it just always looked so messy. So I had our carpenters build new doors, and we've got plugs back there and all of our like coffee maker, bread maker, all of that stuff. And then after I make my coffee in the morning, I get to shut it and act like it's not a mess. And we also added our microwave was open in this cabinet, so I had new doors made for this. And then new appliances. And then we had everything painted, which is funny because it was, I don't know. I feel like because we didn't start from scratch, it was maybe a glow up, but it was a lot of work. This took like 2 months, but it's been great. I've loved it. And it's so nice being somewhere so bright and happy to cook. We went with the GE Cafe ovens. So it's interesting. Our built-in is 27 inches, which I guess was like super standard in 1998, but now it is not. So we actually were super limited in our oven selection. And I was so excited because these were top of my list, and GE makes these 27-inch double ovens. And then you buy them in silver, and then it's like an add-on. You can add different color knobs and handles. And I think they had like 6 or 7 handle options. So I went with the gold, and then I also did gold knobs on our range. This window treatment is, I told y'all you need a good seamstress. They can bring anything to life. So I had my amazing seamstress make this faux Roman shade. It's a Schumacher fabric, and it's got the birds and then the blues and greens, which tie into all the other rooms in my house. And then I also have, which is, see, it's like such a small thing, but I have this really cute lamp from Pookie Lighting. It's one of those cordless little lamps, but it just adds a little bit of warmth. So this is like a fun little corner. And then my canisters that I'm obsessed with, they're Stoneware & Co. They're based out of Kentucky, but they are earthenware, but they're so cute. And then they're also like dishwasher, like I can just throw them in the dishwasher when I'm done. And I bake a lot. Like I love to cook, but I love to bake. So these are fun. And then this is like one thing I don't mind having on the counter because it's so cute. Right off my kitchen, we have our little breakfast nook. And this is where we eat 95% of our meals and do our homework and also build Legos and do Play-Doh. So this table does a lot of things. But this is another table that we inherited. I think it might be just as old as our dining room table, at least 100 years old. And then these are some chairs I bought from a designer in Charlotte off of Facebook. And then I had these window treatments made. We had those very traditional blinds, which you'll see in the rest of the house on this window, but I wanted to like let more light in and add some more pattern. So I had this really fun, it's like a blue and green vertical, again, motif on those. So I had the cafe curtains made by my awesome seamstress, a little bit of art. I did a collab with Minted, and so I picked these fine art prints out and then got these really fun vintage butter dishes that I put on the wall. And then really the best thing about my breakfast nook is my insane cookbook collection. It's not even all here because if I put it here, I'd look like a hoarder. But this is like, I just love cookbooks. I think I get so much inspiration from cookbooks. And really when I'm like meal planning for the week, I grab 3 and see what I'm gonna do. The kind of funny thing about having so many cookbooks is I rarely actually follow a recipe. So most of them have notes because I've modified or changed, or sometimes I just get inspiration to make my own thing. But I love my cookbooks, and it's really nice to have this place where I can keep most of them. Okay, and now I'm going to show y'all my den. Welcome to my den. This is the room where we have movie night and my kids take all the cushions off and build forts. So this room is well loved. This room is a great example of why you need a good reupholsterer. I bought furniture that the scale was good and I had it all recovered. So this couch actually just came back from the upholsterer. It is the most comfortable couch. I bought it like 8 years ago, I think, but my kids had put holes in it. And so we are very lucky in North Carolina because of High Point. You can buy textiles, a lot of awesome fabric stores. My favorite is Ledford's in Lincolnton. It's about an hour from Charlotte. So I got this olive green performance fabric at Ledford's, and then also got this fun nubby fabric from them that they used for the piping on the couch, because if you're gonna get it reupholstered, do something a little bit different, right? And then I had the upholsterer add the tape trim to the bottom, and really, like, this was half of what a new couch would have cost, and I love it. And I got to make something that nobody else has. And it truly is the perfect size in this space. This painting, I actually just finished. So the problem about being an artist and your house being a rotating gallery wall is a lot of times you sell things and then you have a blank wall for a couple months till you can paint something new. This was a blank wall and I knew y'all were coming. So I finished this painting last week, but it's a 48 by 72, which is actually the biggest painting I've done to date. Usually I think a 48 by 60 over a couch is like the minimum. I think just doing bigger art, especially when you have 8-foot ceilings like me, just makes the biggest difference. So it's nice. So I had recovered the couch and I'm like, okay, now I can paint a painting, knowing what the colors in the room are. So this is a 48 by 72. And usually what I do is I'll live with it for a little while. And then I'll decide if I want to sell it, but I think this one's going to stay for a while. I had these bobbin chairs reupholstered too in this fun dot fabric. I did these several years ago, but again, found chairs that were the right scale and then customized them to something that I thought would be fun. And then my built-ins in here are kind of the star of the show, and they are chock full of family photos, like special like mementos from my, from my family, from my kids. Everything on my built-ins has meaning. And it's really nice. We have 4 in this room. And before, I had all these tchotchkes and nowhere to put them. And so I've loved having these built-ins. Got lots of family pictures. And then my great-grandmother was this amazing artist. And so I have several of her pieces. She would paint on pottery. So I have several of her pieces. And then my granny was also an amazing artist. And I'll have to point out, I have several of her pieces in the house too. But the bookshelves have just been so fun. And this table here, we also inherited. I usually don't paint brown furniture. It's just not something I do. But this was one instance where I was like, I feel like the fretwork on this would just pop more if it was painted. So I had this table painted blue, and I actually there's 2 of them. I have another one in my bedroom, but I had this table painted blue, and it's just like a fun pop of color. And then you can really see all the detail on here. Glenn's sweet cousin gave us this mirror when they moved. I think it was his great aunt's. It is also very heavy. And then I found these sconces. I either thrifted these or bought them on Facebook. I can't remember. And then the candles are from our local Ace Hardware, which also has the best candle selection. So these chairs are actually, I did not reupholster these, but I think this is a great example of taking something. So the fabric on here, I think I apparently have gotten everything on Facebook. I got these on Facebook, and they had been in a couple's like formal sitting area. So I don't think they'd ever been sat on. And when I saw the fabric, I was like, oh, this is a little dated, but maybe, so I had planned on getting these recovered. But I think it's so funny when you put a floral pillow on here and then with the rest of the room, it like instantly kind of brightened up the chairs. So I kind of love the little flower pattern. I think for me personally, what gives your home a soul, or our home, I guess, is having like family pieces all over the house. And I have a ton of pictures, so there's family photos everywhere. I don't know, it just makes you like think about your roots and being connected. So definitely like family pieces. I'll show y'all, but like our dining table was my husband's great grandparents. Like it's over 100 years old. And I just love the idea that like we're still using it, and it's got dents and scratches, and we're still having dinner parties on it. I think that like those kind of pieces just make your house warm. Next, let me show y'all my bedroom. This has been such a fun room to bring together. It's a great mix of new, old, home, and it was great. They're like a local Charlotte company, and the guys actually came and assembled it for me. It was amazing. So it's got this olive green with blue piping, and then there's this brand, it's called Piglet in Bed, and they do really fun bedding. And so I have these linen striped Euro shams, and then little duvet cover. I've got my Look Linen Co. monogrammed shams, and a little pillow in this Lee Jaffa fabric from Wheat and Whaley, and then my Pippin House duvet. I love mixing things on a bed. I don't know, I just think it's more interesting than kind of like buying a bed in a box. So this was fun. And then it pulled together a lot of the colors from these amazing panels. So these are Mural Source, which is the same company that did the mural in my entryway. These were actually, I'll show y'all in a minute, but I just covered our primary bathroom in these panels, and I had 4 left over. And so I worked with my local framer, Campania, and they mounted these on boards and then framed them for me. And they're just the star of the show, y'all. If I could put a mural in every room in my house, I would. But these have just been fun, and they just have a lot of different colors and birds and fruit. And so that was kind of my jumping off point. And so because the panels were a lot and I wanted that to be the focus, I just did very simple pinch pleated blue drapes. This is a fun antique piece we also inherited. And then the lampshades are my fabric. It's just some painted dots, which y'all will see on the walls in my kids' bathroom. So these are mine. I've got family photos. And really, it's just like a fun, cozy space. I have one of my 48 by 48s in here too, and it will live here until it goes to be in its forever home. But I kind of want to take it off my website because the colors are perfect in this room. So it's been really fun. I've had it up here for like a week, and it's just brought me a lot of joy. And then I think the furniture, I bought this, maybe I bought both of these pieces at an antique store or a consignment store in Charlotte. And so there's a lot of brown, but everything kind of is with the fabrics and the panels, like lightens it up. And now, right off of my bedroom is our primary bathroom. And I like to think of this as my little jewel box. This bathroom was renovated, I think in 1998. And so when we moved in, it was just kind of, didn't have a lot of color. And I knew, like, unless we were going to do a big, if or when we're going to do an addition, it didn't really make sense to like rip everything out because the counters were white, the floor was neutral. It just seemed silly to renovate this bathroom and get the exact same thing. So I had this idea and I worked with Mural Source, and we installed this mural in the bathroom, and I painted the ceiling, installed new sconces, and y'all, it's like my favorite room in the house. I love getting ready in here. It feels so special, and it was also great. I didn't have to live through a renovation, but I honestly am happier than I would have been with like a white bathroom and new counters. And this bathroom works really well for my husband and I, so I'm glad that we did this. But when in doubt, just add a mural because it just makes everything so happy. I just love this room. And welcome to my sunroom, which is also affectionately known in my house as the playroom. Why? It's funny, this room gets the best light. It's like your kids always get the best room in the house. But this has been a great play place for my kids, but we also hang out. And this room, when we moved in, was yellow and just not it. So we added the wallpaper. This is also Tebow. I think it's box kite, but also doing the vertical to make everything feel a little bit taller. And then I had these bird drapes made as an ode to my hunting husband. And they're also paisley, so it was like a kind of fun pattern play. So I had the drapes made, and then these cane chairs we also inherited. And I said I only had painted one thing. That's not true. I painted these too. But I liked the having the caning kind of pop with the white chairs. And then I had these reupholstered in blue. And then the best part of this room is my kids' art wall. And it's so fun. It's like this rotating gallery of art that they get to come and change. And usually I've framed several of their pieces, but this is fun. So when they bring things home, we switch it out. And then at the end of the year, we go through it all. And then when they finish preschool, I make like an art book of all of their art. But this is really fun. I knew I wanted to do this, and when we first moved in, I couldn't find a place for it, so it's been nice. This is like their little happy corner, and it makes me smile. I think I got this from a neighbor. I can't remember. It's actually an old TV cabinet, which is, funny. My kids won't even know what a TV cabinet is, but so it's got like a hole in the back, but this is great. I'm not going to open it because I'm afraid all of their toys are just going to spill out and crush me, but it has a ton of storage. So I just needed something where we could like close the doors and put bins in. And this has been a great Lego game magnetile storage piece. I don't remember where this couch is from. It's quite comfortable, but the fabric is from Ledford's in Lincolnton. And they also have an amazing pillow selection. So these Buffalo Check pillows, I told y'all, I love Buffalo Check. Those are from Ledford's. And then I had these pillows made by my seamstress. And then these stools are really cool. They had this like animal print, which was awesome, but it didn't really go with the room. So I recovered them in the same fabric. This rug I bought 7 years ago, I think on Facebook. And we actually, it just came back last week. Our sweet dog passed away in February, and he was literally the best dog and never destroyed anything, but he destroyed this rug. It was odd. So after he passed, I was like, okay, I can finally get this repaired. So we had the rug repaired and cleaned. And again, this kind of is the room we park in the back, and this is the door we use to come in the house. So I love having a darker rug in an entryway. And it also, I think, just like adds some warmth to the space. And welcome to my kids' bathroom. This was a fun room to do. So this wallpaper is actually mine. I designed it for my kids' bathroom, and now it's available on my website. It's called Just Some Painted Dots. But I feel like it's like the most fun little pop of color, but like a neutral background. So this bathroom, again, done in 98, lots of tan. And so I lightened it up with the wallpaper. We added these new mirrors from Ballard. And then I had, with my amazing seamstress, had this custom shower curtain made. And it just like brought life to this space. And it's just like a fun kids' bathroom now. And then I also added in some art from Ernest Lee, who's an artist out of Columbia. And yeah, now it's just like a fun little bathroom. Another thing that we did with this shower curtain is I took it all the way to the ceiling just to give more height. And this fabric is so fun. I just wanted it to pop. So I'm always looking at, make things vertical, make things feel taller. And right down the hall from the bathroom is my daughter's room. And this one is really special. Obviously my middle name is Daisy. That's how I sign all of my paintings. Her middle name is Daisy too. And I actually designed this wallpaper, and it's called Daisy Chain. I hand painted it and then had it digitized. And I actually painted it before I knew I was pregnant with her. So I wasn't sure where I was going to use this design. But when I found out that she was coming, I was like, this is perfect. So we've got Daisy Chain all over the walls. And then this is a painting I painted for her when I was also pregnant. And this is available. It's actually one of my best-selling prints. It's available on my website as a print. But I think this is this painting that she'll keep forever. I've got this sweet little dollhouse a friend gave us. And then these really fun drapes I bought in an estate sale that I'm obsessed with the pattern. They are so fun. And then I have this lampshade that has my fabric on it. It's my bold and blue fabric, which I think is just fun with the florals. And then, of course, got to have some gingham. So I have this pink gingham pillow in this little sitting area. So this is just a fun room I know that she'll grow into. So one of the things, like the first thing I noticed when we came to tour the house is the floor to ceiling windows on the front of the house. I think as an artist, you're always looking for light. And I'm obsessed with these. And I love the first 4 in the house are arched and they're floor to ceiling. They let in a lot of light. And then these plantation shutters were original. And it's funny. I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's old fashioned, and they would replace them. Of course, it's old. I love it. So I just had our painters paint them when they painted all the rooms. And they, they're like add a little bit of character to our house. And welcome to my backyard. It just monsooned, but we still wanted to show y'all what we did out here. This is definitely our most utilized space. And we finished this about 2 years ago. When we moved in, this patio was maybe half of the size that it is now. We added the fire pit, we added the fireplace, and we're seriously out here at least 3 nights a week. It's just such a nice space. Love having the gas fire pit because it's really easy. You just have a key and a lighter and you turn it on. But then if it's like a Saturday and you have more time, it's really nice to use the big fireplace. We have an awesome mason who did this for us. And I was really adamant, the period of our house, this kind of flagstone that's different sizes is very like common. And so I knew I wanted to use something that looked like it could have been here since 1969. One of the biggest changes we made when we moved in was painting the outside of our house. We like debated back and forth because, you know, once you do it, you're kind of stuck. But I'm so glad that we did. And we had Alan Chapman was so kind and shared her house colors. So the color is Benjamin Moore Deep in Thought. That's the white, and it's great because it's not too white, which can be an issue. And then all of our shutters were nailed to the house, so I had our handyman take them off the house and then put them on shutter dogs. And then the green is Sherwin-Williams Privilege Green. I think home is a place that you feel safe and warm and just a place to like decompress. I don't know, life is crazy. And somewhere that you can just like sit and be yourself. And I think that is what I've tried to create for my family decorating this house. I just want people, especially like my little family of 5, to kind of come in and feel like, okay, now I can breathe. I've tried to keep it together all day, and now I can just kind of like be myself and relax now that I'm home. Homeworthy, that was so fun, but it's time for y'all to go. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.